closer to you. Hi. Oh my gosh,
Hi.
you're recording me? Hi. Look at your
Hi.
dope boards on the wall and your cute little self.
I'm trying to be like Lauren. I'm trying to be like Lauren,
Okay.
I've been taking, I'm taking receipts from you and your wonderful career in HETV. You know, I watch HETV
Uh,
like religiously. And so when
do
I see
you?
people, yes, and because it's fun, especially in the pandemic art. And
Hello. Oh wow, it's beautiful. Like it's dope.
all right, thank you. So tell us how did you begin your journey in design and decor and interiors, because you're amazing. You're
Oh,
so effortless.
thank you so much. That's so lovely of you to say, and I appreciate you saying that because it makes me just feel validated in what I'm doing. Because I honestly feel like design is what my purpose here on Earth, which sounds kind of silly, but I my personal start was I was really actually a graffiti artist, and that was my passion. So my plans were to be a street artist. I mean, they don't call them graffiti art anymore; it's street artists. Um, or really fine art was kind of what my vision was going to be. But I had a graffiti background. I used to do a lot of graph and run these streets, honey. And so when I was ready to go to college, my plan was to sell. I had this souped up Honda Civic, that I had put all the bells and whistles on, and my plan was to sell that and travel through Europe, being, putting up murals and being a street artist. But my mom was like, "What do you think I do all this work for? I'm doing all this to send you to college." So I felt like an obligation in a sense to respect her and to pursue a college degree before I really started to pursue my art degree. And growing up, my mom, she had a side hustle of like flipping houses. She had a lot of rental properties, and so her she was a nurse by trade, but she had homes that she was renovating, would fix up and make nice. So I had that experience of being with her on the weekends and like spending time with her while she was doing that, begrudgingly or not. Right. So I had this understanding of how things worked and how materials worked and how the processes and stuff, so kind of a building background. So when it came to coming to college, I was like, all right, how can I mix my like love of art with something that I actually know about, which was design and building? And I was like, all right, I'll just go for interior design. And like the first day I went to school, I knew that that is what I wanted to do. Like it was just real. It was that simple. And I joke because I laugh because I never made great grades. Like I was in accelerated classes, but I wasn't like the number one student. But when I got to design school, like that, I thrived in school and actually developed a passion for learning beyond, the typical stuff that I had to learn. So that was exciting for me too.
Which design school did you attend?
Oh, honey, please. It wasn't Cornell.
Man,
I
I know that.
did my
Start doing
research
your
too.
research.
It was
No.
prestigious Oklahoma State University. Thank you.
Oh, nice. Wow.
well, well, let me tell you. What are you saying?
One of our team members, he went to SCADS to school of
Oh,
yeah, I know
yes, of course
bougie.
I
I
know
know.
SCAD, honey. Excusez-moi. Those of us those Oklahomies of our people in Oklahoma don't get to go to SCAD. but but what's interesting is I still had to get out of Oklahoma. Like irrespective of what my true passion was, getting out of Oklahoma was really important to me because I just knew that I was destined for more and needed to see more. And growing up in Oklahoma in the 90s and stuff, it still is not very progressive, but it was even less progressive then. And so I knew that my vision for what I wanted to do was bigger than that. So I went to school initially at Oklahoma State for 2 years, and then I was like, I got to get out of here. So I thought, how could I take this and do something else? So I actually did a national exchange program instead of an international exchange program. I did a national exchange program with the California State University, where I was able to transfer my credits, gain residency in California and LA, and I just transferred to California and I never looked back. So that was my cheat code to getting the hell out of California and still being able to afford it. Yeah, so that was an interesting experience, but it was great because I got to see more and do more, and then I was going to get out of here.
I think you're muted.
There.
Yeah, I hear you now.
Oh, sorry. Okay. Am I there? Okay. Ah, am I good? You can hear me now? Okay. So anyway, I was able to get out of Oklahoma, and that was great because I wasn't going to a design school, but I was going to California State University, and at least there I was getting, you know, an education that had art history, and, you know, like it was expanding my career, my knowledge, I'd say. It still wasn't Cornell.
Right. That's so awesome because did you grow up anywhere near where's University of Oklahoma at? Is it near Tulsa or how far is that from
Oh,
Tulsa?
Oklahoma State is near Stillwater. Yes, that's right, near Tulsa. Mm-hmm. What you know
Wow.
about that?
Well, I saw it on TV the other day.
Ah, you're from Detroit, so I
There's
guess you get it. I guess you get it. You know what a small town is.
right, right. You already
All
know.
right,
That's
the
awesome.
sticks.
So when you grew up, like, I'm curious to know, when did you first really know that you wanted to do things with your hands and like design and color? Did you go to
Uh,
did you go to art class in third grade or what was it?
oh yes,
Like,
you know my mom, like all of that. Like it's always been a passion of mine. I have my mom has this painting. She put me through to like my extracurricular weekend things were always art classes, and she has this painting that she matted and framed of a still life that I had drawn in the first grade, and it's beautiful. It was actually really good. I was impressed with my my own art skills, but when I say that this is my purpose, like it's really true. There are things, and I used to think that I was just crazy, or I'd be in a space and the things would be in the wrong space, and I would just move them around and fix them. And there's a joke amongst some of my old babysitters. They would be like, "Man, when Lauren would come over, you better have your pillows together," because I would be fluffing folks' pillows and moving them just right. And like one of my old sitters would say, I would walk out of the room and Lauren would be in there rearranging my chairs, and like I come back in and go, "Oh, this looks nice." So it's just one of those things that I truly feel was in me. It could also be some type of like neuroses, like Asperger's, but who knows? I just know that like when it comes to spaces and planning them, like I just know scale and balance and that kind of thing was like kind of my little tick, which is weird. Um, but even taking it back further historically, I'm Black and from the South, and like my grandmother was a housekeeper, my great grandmother was a housekeeper, my great 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 grandmother was a housekeeper. Like it just goes back so many generations. I mean, you can tell by the color of my skin, where we was at in the house, but keeping it, you know what I'm saying? And so, I just come from this long line, and I mean, we're talking at least, as far as I know, at least 6, 7 generations back of women in my family on both sides who kept other people's houses. So when it comes to the history of African Americans and keeping other people's homes, that is something that I think all of us can understand and relate to if we really dug into our lineage, And we raised other people's babies, we kept other people's houses, we cleaned other people's shit, and it's like that's where I find that I come from. And like, when I was a little girl, I remember making the beds with my grandmother, and she don't play when it comes to cleaning the house. It's like everything better be tucked, like the military, because that's where she gets that history from, and that's how she put her family through college and even herself. So, that's just I really like try to pay respect to that whole thing.
Yeah, I noticed that too, because you could deny who you really are when it comes to art, because a lot of times, like you said, family, a lot of our family and our, we just don't push us to go into that world of design
Mm-hmm.
and interiors, but we don't really understand, feng shui. That's the art of Chinese placement. Like that's a real
Mm-hmm.
deal in China. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
studied that on my own, and I was like, oh, you put the lamp over here and you get the energy
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Don't live too
Yes,
so
exactly.
I'm looking at your space just like you're looking over here.
Okay.
And I'm like, look at the
Okay.
perspective, look at the layers and the textures. Like what
Yeah.
inspired
Okay.
this look? What inspired this look? Because it's like very mod too.
Yes,
Little
it's
mod.
very. It is a vibe. I love dark and sexy. Like for me, moody, sexy, deep. I'm not afraid of color. I'm not afraid of pattern, as you can clearly see. And I just love I love being able to play with depth and texture and all of those things. And like for me, I want my space to reflect really who I am or who my client is. So and if they're I just want it to feel cozy. Home is all about reflections of you. One of my biggest things is like you and I both spend all of our time working hard so that we can provide or pay for the biggest bill in our lives. And the biggest bill of everybody's life is typically their home, right? And it's like, really, it's not missed on me that so many people were like, oh, I'm not going to hang any pictures because I'm just renting, or, oh, I'm not going to paint the wall that color because what about the next people? They're going to have to paint it over. And there's something called enjoyment equity that I feel is so important for people to really capitalize on. Like, what are you doing all this stuff for if you're not enjoying the space and using it the way that it should work for you? Fuck the other people, fuck everybody else. Like, and it's okay to take risks. And so when it comes to like painting your walls black and your ceiling black, like just do it. It's just paint. It don't cost you nothing to, really like paint it back if you do it yourself. So, I think that's just am I on a tangent? I don't even know what the hell I'm talking
No,
about.
you're not on a tangent.
Okay.
That's leading us to where we wanted to talk about. What are some of your design tips and ideas that you would like to share with us? Post-pandemic makeovers for your home, because I love black.
Yes.
I love black ceilings. I love tinfoils.
Yes.
I love black doors. I love I love the
Yes.
black doorknobs, the distressed ones.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I love old
Yes.
house lamps. Like I love those farmhouse.
Yes. You better
Oh,
get over here in Nashville,
right.
man. We got all that. I think the post-pandemic, I think we've all learned in the last 2 years, like how important our homes is as a safe space, as a place that feels comforting. You know what I mean? And I don't care if you've been on a 2-week vacation or a 2-year stint in jail, right? Everybody wants to go home. Am I right? That's the one place anybody ever says they ever want to be. And so, especially post-pandemic, I think that it's important that we realize how important our homes really are. In this day and age, I think that people should be really making their space feel as good as they can, like investing in it. I don't mean financially, I just mean the time and the energy put into it. Like, make your space feel like even if it's a rental property, there's so many renter friendly things you can do in your own space that still let that home feel like elevated, and that it's not just something you're renting, but something that you actually feel can take some ownership in. And though you may not own it, you can still take ownership in it. Does that make sense? So when I say that, I mean, that means hanging up your photographs. That means hanging up your art. That means, painting a wall, even if it's an accent wall, or putting up some temporary wallpaper. That means, changing out your, like you said, handles to make it, to modernize the space, whatever it takes to make it feel good. And if you still are feeling timid about those kinds of things, you can always do something like putting out fresh flowers every other week. You can also, find cute boxes that help you to organize and manage some of the chaos and the mess that you've got, so that your face feels harmonious and doesn't, have you looking all around for your remote controls. In fact, I got a box right here. Look, this is a box. I keep it on my counter, and I put all my remote controls and stuff in there, so I know where to find my shit, or your keys, or your whatever else, your dog leash. And then last but not least, if you can't afford even that stuff, okay, the simplicity in a clean and orderly space, really speaks volumes. So for me, if you can do nothing else for your space, clean it up.
Yeah, that box, it definitely hit home. My cousin told me about this. My cousin was like, Where'd you get this from?" And I was like, "I got it from Lamborghini. 'Cause, we work with Lamborghini." And he was
Yes,
like,
honey.
right. What is that? I was like, I don't know. And he said, "You don't know what that is?" I said, "No, I don't." He said, "It's called a catch-all."
Oh, yes, a catch-all space. That's
So
real.
it was a
You're
catch-all.
right.
It was a leather
Yeah.
catch-all from Lamborghini, and you're supposed to
Yes.
put your keys, your nickname in it. And I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh,
Your
this looks
wallet.
nice." Why?
Yes.
I didn't know. But like you said, that little box, that's kind of dope. I'm looking into that.
Man,
But
I'm gonna tell you why. Because my mom, when I was growing up, my mom was really the motivation for all of my creativity. My mom could make something out of nothing. Let me just make sure that's really clear. My mom sewed all of our clothes growing up. She made all of our decorations. She made all of our costumes. She wrapped every gift with custom paper. Like, she was that bitch. Okay. My mother is the Martha Stewart's Martha Stewart. Okay. And so, which was really how I got into all this. So, but my mom would say, "This house is mine. This box is yours." And she would hand me a box and say, "Everything that you got needs to go into this box, because I don't want to see your Barbie dolls, your bullshit, your backpack, your this, that, and the third." So she really had me compartmentalized, really, which is probably part of my trauma, but still, she had me taking all my things and, condensing them so that I didn't take over her house. She was like, this is my house. This is your box, And so I really do live by that, because now I know where to find my things, because I have it in a box, I know where my keys are. I know where my wallet is. I know where my purse goes. It's on a hook, like I just have these places for everything. And I try my best to have, that's the part of being a life stylist, is actually having a place where you can put your things so you know where to find them. And I don't care how much junk you got, just cover that shit up in a box.
Wow, yeah, hide that. Put that in a little, put that in the box. That's
Yeah.
dope. So how did you, okay, so let's just fast forward a little bit. First of all, you know how to work with tools. Did you get a certification in handy womaness or something?
Hell no. I got
Drill,
a I got a
hammer.
street some I got some street cred, some street education. But I go back to my mom again. She was like always had tools everywhere. And like I remember at like 16, 17 asking for tools. And I remember my girlfriends being like, what's going on with you? You want a tool? I'm like, yeah, I want a Makita drill driver for Christmas. And they're like, what? But I have one. And when I married my husband, when we first met, he was like, damn, you got a lot of tools. What man you been up here? What man taught you how to use this? And I was like, are you kidding me? I love tools. I love them. And I even consider my fingernails as my tools. Thank you very much.
Oh, wow. Yeah, those are definitely some screwdrivers.
Yes, they are.
No, but that's dope, because I mean, on Trading Spaces, on a lot of these, first of all, you're in a whole host and a whole list of like top shows for like design, from Trading Spaces to Disney's to next gen TV shows, where you're a judge on design show. I mean,
yes.
Can you tell us one of your most memorable moments on Trading Spaces?
Oh boy, God, that was ages ago. Grandmother Makk can hardly remember yesterday.
I know, that show has such a huge following.
It does. And I do have some memories. That show was an incredible force to be reckoned with. It was one of the first, makeover shows, and the challenge was so unique. $1,000 in 2 days. That's a huge challenge for a budding designer. But I loved it because it was really challenging me to think outside the box when it came to how materials worked. And it was the perfect fit for me especially at that time, because I was so new in the game. I learned a lot of mistakes and what not to do, which I think is just as important as the things that I learned how to do. But what I am so grateful for is being able to use that as the base of my entire experience in television. It's like, how do I, maximize the minimal stuff, So, that show was beyond amazing, and I'm so grateful for it. And I didn't even realize how good it was at the time, because I was like, oh, cool, design show, whatever. And then, the next show I go on, it's like, they don't even have $1,000. And I'm like, whoa, what? So, but yeah, that show taught me so much. Again, I had never done television. I was 23, 4 years old at the time, and never done TV. And so I learned not only how to be on TV, how to design for TV, how to maximize a budget, how to use, the tools. I learned how to reupholster. I mean, all of these things were like super useful information to be able to carry on, so that when it came to being a co-host on Fab Life on ABC, I was able to really share that knowledge and that information with not only the production team and the art department, but also with everybody who was watching. And so it's just carried me over from Fab Life to Homemade Simple on the Oprah Winfrey Network, which is a huge DIY show, to even what I'm doing now as a designer and judge on certain shows. Now I'm able to actually judge people and what they're doing, and it's just super useful. It was a great education.
And when you judge people in your new show, and by the way, I love the co-host when you did Fab Life. That was really great. We all love the Homemade Simple on Oprah's own channel. That was great as well. But now you're a design judge. What are you looking for? Like, what are you looking for? I don't know.
Well, unfortunately, the show is not being picked up again. We did have a winner for the show. It was Carmion Hamilton, which is another fellow young African-American woman, which I was super excited about, because she was a powerhouse. But I think in terms of just that experience, I feel a sense of joy just knowing, and gratitude certainly, that I've graduated past the days of like skimping on $1,000 budgets, and I can watch other budding designers develop their skills and cut their teeth on something, on opportunities that are similar. And so that for me is amazing. And yeah, that was unique, and I love it. And also being a judge on Shop Class on Disney Plus was really cool. There were kids who were designing in a design competition show, so that was really unique too, to just be able to kind of guide them and give them the experience I've got. So it's like the old adage, like when you learn something, teach someone else, and that's what I feel is where I'm at right now.
Nice. And speaking of teaching someone else, what's next on on the radar with you? Are you lending your name to any support? Are you doing any NFTs? Do you have a home collection coming out? Because you mentioned Martha
All of the
Stewart.
above. Yes, all of the above. Actually, I am still in working in a developing relationship with HGTV, which is, of course, the granddaddy of it all. So certainly grateful to be working for them. We've got Urban Oasis, the giveaway home, Urban Oasis 2022 giveaway home that is going on right now. So enter to win for your chance to win the house and the car and the $50,000 from now until November 23rd. Just want to put that out there for everybody. You can do it 2 times a day. And also, I've got some unique programming that I'm working on myself, and we'll be debuting here very shortly. So 2023 is shaping up, honey. There is lots to come from Makk here, and I am taking no prisoners, baby.
So are you gonna? Is it safe to assume a book in the near future? Maybe
It is safe to assume all of that and then some. A book. I'm going to do a whole book series. No, I'm just kidding. You know what? There's so many things that I have in store, and like I will tell you this. I have learned through this business and this 20 years of working in this business that it is time to invest in myself. So there are so many things that I am doing and putting my own money where my own mouth is. So I've got some incredible new series and some things that I've been working on behind the scenes. That 2023 is sure to be a good year for me.
Nice.
And for everybody who gets to watch and follow along.
Right. We're definitely gonna go to Urban Oasis and fill out that paperwork.
Hello.
So is there anything else that we didn't speak to or talk on that you wanted to mention about? Any community service involvement? Any any New Year's Eve plans? You and your husband gonna go, any excursions, any
honey, please,
adventures?
we're going to sleep on New Year's Eve. Them days is over, honey. I don't know if you know, but I have committed to a life of sobriety, or an alcohol-free life. I'll say that. I have an alcohol-free life. I've been not drinking for over a year and almost a half. A year and 5 months and 27 days, but who's counting?
Well, congratulations on that.
Thank you very much. And I will tell you, because I lived a life, honey. And that was a choice that I made because I am a 40-year-old woman now, and I want to focus on my health and my mental health. And after the pandemic, I recognized how important mental health and clarity was. And so that was a choice I made for myself, just so that I could usher myself into the next movement. So there will be no drinking on New Year's, but there will be lots of eating and probably lots of dessert.
Right. And I saw that you're working on some Food Network shows as well.
I do a lot of work.
Staying busy.
Got to hustle out here, Vaughn.
Are there any daily affirmations that you can share with us before you leave with us today that you use for yourself to affirm who you are? Do you look in the mirror or do you meditate?
Oh, I absolutely meditate. I absolutely believe in affirmations. One of my biggest affirmations to myself is, when in doubt, I always tell myself, why not? I often say to myself, well, why would you do that, Lauren? Why would you write a book? Why would you start investing in yourself? And then I have to remind myself, why not, Lauren? There are so many people out here who are willing to do it. So why not you be one of those people as well? So I guess to myself, whenever I challenge my own thoughts, I have to remind myself to challenge those negative thoughts with, why not do that stuff? So that's, for me, one of the things that I live by.
Nice. Well, thank you so much, Lauren. You're such a pleasure. So much great energy. I'm so proud of you and all your efforts and everything that you're doing. Such a trailblazer for marginalized people. I'm super excited to see you. Like I know you probably think I'm lying, but I love the Property Brothers. I love every show. I watch
You do.
yeah, all those shows. And so when
Yay.
I saw you on there, I was like, oh yeah, your familiar face. Like,
Yay. Oh, I forgot to mention, I had a debut show come out on HGTV. What is today? Is it Friday? Wednesday. It was called Best House on the Block. And of course, they only are going to air it one time. I don't know what the hell that's about. But that's something to say. That's something to talk about.
So
And I'm
Best
proud
House
of
on
it.
the Block.
Yes, it was a makeover show that was a docu-follow of me building my business here in Nashville and renovating a home. And I wanted to say this is something that I want to say too. You mentioned marginalized people and people who have not, who aren't represented. And for me, no matter what happens, that is my mission too, is to really showcase to other young Black girls who are from Oklahoma, from the South, who think that they can't get out too, right? That there is hope and there is a way to hustle out, and oh God, I got goosebumps. Because I think that's so important. There wasn't that for me when I was growing up. There was like the only design show I ever saw on TV was Designing Women. And the only Black person on there was their handyman, Anthony Bouvier. Right? And so I think that it's so important to not only be an example for young Black women, but also for Black homeowners, for Black, because we put so much money into the economy. Black women are, the highest population of people who are becoming homeowners right now. And I think that's super important when it comes, that's a number that doesn't necessarily get talked about a lot, but I think it's really important to recognize that that's our power, and that there's so many of us that are owning property and becoming homeowners and, working with our hands, and we're not we're our ancestors' dreams now, and so we don't have to subscribe to some of the older standards. Like now we are able to use tools and to go out here and do our own DIYs and to be a redesigner or a lifestylist and all of these other things. And I do want to say that too. One last thing, DIY is my passion. That's where I come from. And I am really having a struggle with the term DIY, because for me, when I think DIY, I think of like popsicle sticks and hot glue. But for me, I really consider myself a redesigner, because I take things and reimagine them, redesign them, renew them, refurbish, all of these, recycle them even sometimes out of thrift stores or trash even. And so I'm really bringing that spirit to my designs and to you all.
Well, nice. Thank you so much. It's all about upcycling, and I love upcycling too. I found a piece of marble on the side of the road, literally in Washington Heights in New York, and I was like, I'm gonna call an Uber and get this slab of marble. So I got
Hell
that
yeah!
marble.
What'd you do?
Yeah, it's right there.
Well, let me see it.
The area's messy.
That's okay. My house is messy.
Let
me see it, Vaughn. Come on. That is a dream. Where is it at?
See, that's it right there.
Your house is beautiful.
That's just a little live work. That's it. So we just
sitting on the couch.
No, it's right there. That marble piece, white slab.
Oh, that circle.
Yeah, that's marble.
Oh my God, Julian, that is fire. You found a table. You upcycled it.
Yeah, upcycled it. So I put some legs on it from Amazon or
yes,
Wayfair, same thing.
Yeah,
and and boom, there you have it. Because I saw that on the road, and I was like, that's you already know. That's like $500. But the marble $1,500 table.
I did an upcycle marble thing. I'm obsessed with marble. Marble's making a comeback, honey. I'm obsessed with marble. I did a similar thing with an old trash can and a marble top. You can see it on Instagram. I'm obsessed. Good for you. Very good find.
All right. Well, thank you so much. So I hope you have a wonderful weekend. It was such a pleasure speaking to you. I'm so happy you took our call. And thank you. You mean so much. You mean so much to us at 360, as well as the people out here just trying to, see more people like you on television. I'm so, we're here for you. We always gonna be here for you. So we love you much. We love you much.
Thank you. I love you too. And have a great weekend.
You too.
Bye.
Bye-bye.